Also,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a tip. That's a well-deserved tip. Yeah, I know. Just
Oof.
immediately lassos, gets countered by Heavenly Grace. KJ's just in the right spot, makes it happen. And now HFN, Butterfly done, Aegis in the back pocket. Yuma's still getting pretty scary, and they're eyeing him
It
at bottom.
could burn him. There's the Stone Gaze,
There you
though.
go.
Yuma
Simple as
just
that, though.
walking. Okay. All's well that ends well. If you're on the SG side, you would have loved to burn away that Aegis, but getting the Stone Gaze out of the picture is not a bad play either, right? Still down for about 70 seconds, so maybe Wolf Team feel a little bit less confident pushing forward, but Aegis to take the Stone Gaze's place may still give them the confidence to try and push their way through bot, because as a reminder, they got that tier 3 earlier on, so they are looking at a high ground push, looking at potentially a lane of Brax if they can break through. So Oscar's not going to make that easy for them.
HFN's on the warpath right now. And you got to be careful, because once that tomb goes up, there isn't a whole lot you can do. There is backdoor, though, and look at that. Batrider. And making a break for the wave. The hero plays is maybe going to get caught, but BKBs, they glyph the wave. Oh my goodness. Everybody's so obnoxious here. And he does TP out without clearing it, so I think... Oh, is it going to finally... No, one creep that we got coming in. But there is split push top. Yuma is hitting, and he is hitting quite fast with Prada.
And they are getting through this, yeah, at a really solid rate. There is going to be a TP back, and it's actually Suits who will return. He's going to drop the Avalanche, goes for the toss as well, but Yuma really doesn't seem to care. But now with HFN here, yeah, time to go. Got the objective, force the TPs back. Meanwhile, back down to the bottom lane. Can they cancel any of these? No, they cannot. Prada does have to give his life, but really, if you're SG, mission accomplished. They did what they wanted.
And now, all they can do is keep these waves in as long as humanly possible, as Yuma is just going to, sit there, get right-clicked, HFN, you know. It's like, oh, my wave's dead. Where else can I go? I guess I have to go down mid now, but if Wolf Team could start mopping up a lot of these towers, then you're really going to start to see them, I think, come into that next stage of the game. But big smoke, huge clash bottom.
Yep, Zeus goes in first. LTH dropped low. Can he somehow rebound away? No, he can't. But he's going to be the, well, the alarm, right? The siren is blaring, and the cores are going to get themselves away. Yuma's coming back up, though. And ET, want to get your opinion on this one, because Yuma opts to finish off that Aghanim Scepter, and Blink Fragment is not exactly a spell we see picked up by him all that often. What do you think about its impact here?
No, I like it a lot. It's where you do get to just poke and prod, but huge fight.
Yep, they're going on to King RD first. Meanwhile, yeah, KJ's just getting burned on the backline. Take away all of his mana. KXY, though, does die for this, so it's getting a little bit awkward. There's going to be your mana void. It takes out King RD. Doesn't take out KJ still, so he's kind of kicking around on the backline. So too is Prada, but Prada is going to get punished. As they'll hit him up. This is not a quick or easy kill. Prada's just kind of dancing his way around, but eventually they do take him out there. And well, the prioritization is fine, right? You do want to try and get KJ out with his mana early so that he can't pull any heal or any Guardian Angel, but that just took too long.
No, it just ended up being a very difficult fight, and even KJ gets to walk all the way over to the secret shop, just doesn't die, and gets the buy an Aeon Disc, and then it pops, and then the anti-mage has to disengage. I think really Yuma was just fiending for a kill that he didn't want to use Mana Void for. KJ is dead in so many situations if Yuma just blows him, but decided to be patient instead, and then just took a lot longer on that kill. And well, Yuma's on the run here bottom. He's still just looking for the creep waves. That's something that the Blink Fragment will enable just a little bit more. And yeah, well, you know, he's playing with you a little bit, but it is a much more casual way for you to force a reaction. And honestly, because we don't see it that often, it could be a little bit of a mind game here against Wolf Team, because you might think that it's real. You might just say, oh, that's anti-mage, and then you just immediately blow your spells, and then suddenly Yuma's in the trees laughing.
And the only thing that would make this even more of just an absolute mess mentally is if they see Yuma finish off something like a Manta, because then, well, which kind of illusion is it? But he is working towards the MKB right now. Saw that that butterfly was finished off, so trying to get onto HFN. HFN, though, does get onto LTH, and this Marcy really has had to kind of play the part of the sacrificial lamb. Progress is still being made towards this BKB, and I mean, ET, we know what happens, right? The Marcy basically turns itself into a core if you get that BKB basher setup, but you're not really getting a lot of farm time at the moment, and I don't think he's going to get that time for quite a while.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hot sec before we see anything from her, but at the same time, still finding some of these picks, and the picks are nice, but feels like it's just been support kills for the longest time, and,
out.
well, yeah, you're not gonna kill Prada. Just have the gobble up on the Snapfire now, so another tool to help them initiate, but it's where SG just are not really getting stuck in their base. They keep on finding ways to escape, finding ways to get out that net worth. And it's funny because at first, felt like this was going to be a huge risk going for the Agnum Scepter over immediately rushing that MKB, but now it feels like Yuma's going to be able to get it just fine and then be ready to actually battle versus that Medusa. It's where for Wolf Team, you wonder if they pushed it hard enough with that Aegis or if they just did too good of a job dodging you. And well, round 2 for Prada. No TP this time. Might be a little bit harder to survive, but he's also just so obnoxious.
Don't chase too far here, Wolf Team. There's 4 heroes waiting on that high ground, but they do drop the tombstone down. It's going to sort of clear out the area, but Zeus too far forward with the haste rune. He's going to get hit by the lasso. Pulled very far away from his backup and taken down. And, well, that's why we say don't chase too far, because now they are massively staggered. The supports aren't in the same zip code as King RD. They're going to be able to find those kills now. Here comes Yuma looking to push in. 2 supports all by themselves. FCR. I can respect that. A noble sacrifice to get KJ away with the spit out, but it does cost him his life.
No, that was very honorable. Just saying, I needed to get you out of here. Just hop inside my
It's like a scene
dragon's
from a
mouth.
war movie. Okay, maybe not the dragon's mouth part, but the rest of it is like a war movie.
It's like House of the Dragon, but no, they used everything, and during that time as well, HFN got a Stone Gaze for us. Now, KXY, that's a terrible blink, but he doesn't die for it, doesn't get punished, but if they don't have Glyph, and, well, without any buybacks, without any respawns, Yuma's just doing anti-mage things, and then he's gone, and then you miss your opportunity onto him. They might try to get the toss, but nope. With the counterspell up, isn't a clean enough initiation from Suits. And really, I think if you're a Wolf Team, you are kind of kicking yourself now. HFN, he's changing up his build. He's queued up, I think, several items at this point. And now it's the Rapier.
Oh, boy.
And it feels like it might have to be the Rapier because he simply doesn't have enough damage. They need to kill the Anti-Mage in an Avatos. That is the stakes of the game at this point. Or they need to get him this next Aegis and hope that they just don't have enough damage to deal with him from SG. But I feel like they're getting there nonetheless. And that's where Yuma, well, he's got a butterfly queued up. He'll probably just sell his Yasha. He's getting terrifying on this anti-mage.
Yeah, he is unbelievably big right now. Meanwhile, you see KXY starting to feel a little bit more confident going for the split push play himself. So you now have the AM and Boots of Travel Batrider just keeping your lanes pushed out. And that's not even really mentioning the fact that they lost that whole lane of Rax top. So with the supers, top's always going to be pushing against them for Wolf Team. So you see them starting to feel a little bit of desperation, trying to push forward. They do have a very solid damage boost now with the Daedalus on Sooths, but they still need to find the right targets, right? All the damage in the world won't matter if you're only picking off the likes of Prada and LTH.
Yeah, and well, back on bottom, punishing the fact that you don't have Glyph. They're just going to get another tier 3. Now FCR, he's here with the setup, but you've lost your Tiny.
Medusa's in trouble. They're going to jump in.
Oh.
He does get the Stone Gaze off, so never mind. There's the Mana Void. Oh my god, that's some damage.
And that's probably the game, I imagine. You're going to have to buy back on your Medusa right now to hold off Megas, but yeah.
Okay.
HFN's done. And Yuma, last pick anti-mage, I mean, it just kind of ends up working out for you. And even though the lane wasn't pretty, the lane wasn't as easy, and we kind of knew that was coming, as soon as you get overtaken net worth-wise with that anti-mage, it's just impossible. The Medusa can no longer fight. There were 3 engagements at the end of that game where simply it is an anti-mage by himself, forcing out Stone Gaze, leaves the engagement, sends himself out of salve, decides to stay back out onto the map, and doesn't get punished. Why? Because he's last pick anti-mage. He just couldn't get countered in time, and then Wolf Team probably kicking themselves a little bit here, because I think, honestly, if it was Yuma PL, might not have put up as much of a fight as this anti-mage, but definitely a statement game for him, but This is unfortunate. And again, comes back to that first Aegis for Wolf Team, just I think struggling to get onto those buildings, but also KXY, Oscar, LTH, Prada. I mean, everybody aside from Yuma just kept those waves in constantly. And it's a few of those hero plays where they kill the creep waves to keep that backdoor alive. Might cost you a few BKBs, but if Wolf Team have to disperse and then chase you down, I mean, we saw 2 or 3 times during that Aegis where they TP back to try and deal with Prada and Yuma, and then they try to kill them, but it doesn't work. They TP away, they run out of disables, or they only get Prada,
Right.
and then it worked. They got you off of their tier 3s. You weren't able to turn anything else. They didn't even get bottom racks at the end of the day. But man, no, that's an ugly game for HFN and a pretty definitive way to lose with his best hero.
And I think that is the sort of key thing to be looking at in this game, ET. Wolf Team come out swinging, right? With the tried and true. We're going to take HFN Dusa in phase 1. It's our best strat. It's the strat they've run like probably over 75% of the time in Pro Series, and it got a little bit shut down now. So what do you do? Do you try the Dusa again, but maybe put different heroes around it? Do you try to shift him to something else? Because we saw Wolf Team try something similar yesterday. They picked up the HFN Sven, and that didn't really look great either. So now you're really in a tough spot just one game into the series.
No, you're in a little bit of a pinch, and that's where I do hope that now maybe we see a last pick draft coming out of them. Maybe we see them switch things up coming into that best of 3 format. Or is it just time to say, well, SG, they're kind of the better version of our lineup right now. They're just kind of a little bit more effective in each role, which is sad to say, but these teams really are that similar. They play very close ideas. It's where I think Yuma is in a very similar role that HFN is, but that's where with last pick, Yuma just gets the carry advantage. So I think now maybe we see something a little bit trickier out of them, but we definitely need to see change.
Yeah, but we'll see what those changes look like as we are going to be pushing into the second game in just a little bit here. So SG Esports take the opener, now one more win away from a date with 5rat and a rematch in those grand finals. So we're going to be stepping away for just a little bit. When we come back, it's going to be that game 2 draft. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a bit.
Shooting me with words, but I won't let them bruise. Even though it hurts, I won't show it to you. 'Cause it will ricochet, I won't let it bite. I will look at you and tell you that I'm alright. Like a ricochet, it will come back to you. Let me tell you, not because my eyes are open, your words will keep bouncing away. And even if you're trying to hurt me, my skin's getting thicker each day. I don't know how you fall asleep at night, knowing that your words are hurtful, it's just not right. No, because my eyes are open, your words will keep bouncing away. Like a ricochet, like a ricochet, like a ricochet, like a ricochet. I used to let it in, all the things you said. You try to turn me into somebody else, but it will ricochet, I won't let it bite. I will look at you and tell you that I'm alright. Like a ricochet, it will come back to you. Let me tell you, not because my eyes are open, your words will keep bouncing away. And even if you're trying to hurt me, my skin's getting thicker each day. I don't know how you fall asleep at night, knowing that your words are hurtful, it's just not right. No, because my eyes are open, your words will keep.
Whew. Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the BTS Pro Series 12. We're getting started here with Game 2 of our lower bracket final. Second matchup between Wolf Team and SG Esports. SG able to win game number 1. Looked pretty good in the process, ET. Countered out HFN's Dusa with a last pick sort of AM play. And, well, now they're 1 win away from moving on to the grand final.
Yeah, and already we do see changes though. First pick and dying, that makes sense. Rest of the bans stay pretty much the same, but they themselves ban out Batrider as she decided that, yeah, we're going to go for something different here. We're going to put ourselves maybe open up to some vulnerabilities, so instead move past it. That's why Wolf Team go for the Mars Techies opener. But then Yuma Faceless Void. We'll have to see if it's as powerful as it was before. It definitely got nerfed. Definitely still has a lot of the aspects that still made it work for this player, though. Just another team fighter that frees up Oscar to play something that doesn't have to be a stun, and then results in you having, I think, a much easier lineup to execute. But we'll have to see, and I think probably should see maybe a Snapfire respect ban coming through eventually sometime, even a Skyreth Mage respect ban, because you do very possibly have your cores picked up here. But that's where FCR Techies, you had to ask for it, right? If Wolf Team were going to go out on a limb here and they didn't see the first phase ban, might as well just rush over to that. I think even prioritizing it over the Medusa, which will get banned out second phase, because even though they countered it so well before, now you've got your carry here. You do have to take it away from HFN, but I still like what Wolf Team are putting down.
Yeah, this just feels unbelievably stable for them. They know what they're going to get out of this lane, and they can build the rest of the lineup around it without having to worry too much about that matchup. So step in the right direction right away, and then on top of that, right, you take your Mars this early, then they ban away the Enigma, they ban away the Beastmaster, they've taken out the Primal Beast. So if this isn't going to be Oscar on a core undying, then his pool is rapidly getting just taken away from him.
No, he's getting pressured, and we'll have to see if they keep in line with those offlane bans or they decide to maybe mix things up. I feel like banning out Oscar's hero is never a bad choice, though, if you make him uncomfortable, but respecting the Invoker ban. I like it. I think Invoker's definitely been one of those mid laners that kind of needs to be banned, and it's really fun to see Invoker be as good as he is coming into TI, because it's one of those TI heroes where there's infinite possibilities, always a turnaround. It's where you think of Invoker, you think of Shaker, even think of AA to a certain extent. You get your TI5 memories brewing, but no, we'll have to see, because, well, now maybe it's time to turn this draft around, and then we just see every mid laner banned out, because both Suits and KXY have quite a lot of overlapping heroes, so could understand getting both of them uncomfortable, even though there are quite a few spirits still left kicking around.
Yeah, the spirits at this point almost feel like kind of the default options for a lot of these teams, and default in the way of, sure, we'll play them if they're there, but also if we need a ban and we can't think of one, let's just take something like the Ember or the Void away. So kind of a fallback for a lot of these squads. SG, though, for right now, staying on the HFN pool. The Deuce is gone. They take the Terrorblade out as well, so I feel like they're a little bit more confident on the SG side that whatever Seuss gets put on, we can probably find KXY a matchup where he's at least going to feel comfortable in it.
Yeah, and with the TB ban, could hint at them maybe struggling to chase down these illusions in the lanes. And that was a fast ban to pick. And they ban out the Timbersaw, and they pick up the Omni. Interesting. I like it, though. I think KJ was kind of owning it last time. I think he was really doing a solid job. And, of course, last time around, they picked it to counter off the Batrider, which kind of ended up working. I think there was at least 2 lassos that were just immediately canceled out by Heavenly Grace. But now, much less provoked pick. This is just him, I think, wanting something that feels like an Undying, but maybe a worse Undying, Slightly worse at team fighting, fills a very different role, but should be able to stabilize HFN quite easily.
Just going to have that solid backup to work with. And in all honesty, things did not start going bad for KJ until you suddenly had not a Faceless Void, excuse me, an Anti-Mage on your ass with like 6 times your own net worth, just draining you away in every fight. Up until that point, he was doing just fine, being that defensive hero they needed. And now, well, without presumably any Anti-Mage, unless SG are going to do something crazy, I think KJ could continue on with that stable play.
And we'll have to see, because Omni is a hero worth trying to answer here from SG. It's where any heroes that naturally buy Yule Scepter suddenly become a little bit more useful. It's where I think, honestly, Rubik still feels pretty good. I think the simplest choice, though, is probably either Snapfire or Skyreth Mage. With Skyreth Mage maybe a little bit higher, because of course, you go on one hero, you silence the Omni Knight, you're not able to save him for 4 seconds. Sky feels quite nice, I think, in this lineup. Maybe just another hero to get thrown into the Colosseum, but if you're not getting thrown into the Colosseum, you cause quite a few problems for your opponents. But we'll have to see, because they are definitely using quite a lot of time here from SG.
Oh,
Queen of Pain, okay. Classic KXY hero, and of course, more damage to throw into the Sonic Wave. Can't push them out. They just actually end up eating the pure damage, but not what I expected.
and this maybe not quite in the order that I was looking at, but this kind of goes back to what I was saying before for SG. They feel confident in KXY right now, right? They don't see the mid matchup, and they still take their Queen of Pain because they're feeling fairly certain whatever Seuss puts out there, as long as it's not a direct, inarguable counter to what we took, we think KXY is going to win it. And I mean, as you say, Queen of Pain, one of his most played and most successful heroes. And then, since they have the back-to-back Pixie T, they still get the Snapfire to pair up with that Faceless Void for that combo.
No, and that feels pretty nice. I feel like you're pretty happy. Only issue is now, if you're Wolf Team, don't you just pick Naga Siren right now? Isn't that your easy kind of, well, you have to get the Omni Knight, you also have to get me. You might even need to get the techies at this rate, but I feel like if HFN could get that hero, breaks up this team fight so nicely from SG, and then you don't have the offlaner picked up, so Oscar's going to get 2 more heroes banned out against him. I think Wolf Team would be really remiss here if they don't go for their carry. And even though I do like the Queen of Pain, and of course KXY is a specialist on the hero, just another not stun for you to play around. You're already not
True.
getting any more disable from your Undying. Now your Snapfire is going to fulfill a little bit more of that role, but it's where I think Oscar is getting ever so slightly overloaded, because the damage is great. We've got great magic damage from SG. We've got that great mix as well with the pure damage coming in from the Sonic Wave, but aside from that, I feel like if Oscar drops the ball at all, then SG are left without a play almost. It's where if he does get put on just a plain simple blink initiator, well, we're going to have to wait for that blink. It's where those first 20 minutes slow down to a crawl aside from those Faceless Void chrono connections. And that's where Wolf Team go in a different direction. They get more of that draw hero in the mid lane. There's something to make sure Sooths doesn't get his hero banned out against him, but another hero to punish you when you don't have Chrono, who is always ready for the fight, who is always ready to get out onto the map. And now I really am wondering what we're going to see for Oscar, because he is now going to become a very critical member of the lineup.
And I mean, by the time they get around to picking his hero ET, what's going to be left, right? The Visage was banned out on the SG side. Wolf Team have removed 4 potential offlaners. So the pool is going to be insanely thin, and that's why you were mentioning it before. Maybe he's going to feel a little bit overloaded. If some of those heroes were still available, if the bans had been a little bit more spread out, then I would feel a lot better about what SG are doing here. But that pool is going to be just incredibly small by the time you get around to it, and you're still going to need a hero that will play a major role for you.
Yeah, and I'm racking my brain a little bit here for Oscar's hero. Of course, they could always turn the draft around and just say, okay, you're Centaur. Cool, you're Centaur, not the most exciting hero in the entire world, but would be able to stand in front of your buildings and get to Blink Dagger in a pretty reasonable amount of time. I think, honestly, the best hero I could imagine them picking up is probably Brewmaster, but I don't think Oscar necessarily wants to tempt fate here. I know Brew's like not the best hero right now, but of course one of the age-old counters versus Omni Knight, because you always have just the massive Dispel to purge off the Guardian Angel, so it feels pretty nice in this very kind of scant circumstance, but I think that's where more likely Oscar is going to play a hero, like the Centaur War Runner. Can't really play Doom here. Doom just, of course, will run away. He'll get a Doom, and then immediately they just get healed up. I don't know, aside from the Centaur, I was thinking about maybe them going for a Legion Commander, but again, it's where I think it's just too risky versus the Omni Knight, and versus a Techies as well. You probably just lose your duels, so it probably wouldn't have been the best choice. And I do like that Dawnbreaker ban a lot as well. That was the hero that was kind of the one evading my words there for a moment, because yeah, that would have been a good answer to you. That would have been your big punish as well. Every spear, every Techie's blast off gets met with a Solar Guardian, and well, there you go. There's your Centaur.
It's it ain't flashy. And of course, the only thing about, well, not the only thing, but one of the things about the Centaur, and a similar thought process with the Brewmaster too, Faceless Void, Queen of Pain, Centaur, Warrunner, those ults are on some hefty cooldowns, ET, so you mentioned it when the Leshrac got picked up. Wolf Team are going to be able to operate in between those cooldowns, still take fights, still push lanes, still take towers, and well, that's even before we've seen what their carry pick ends up being. If they take someone here on a faster rotation in terms of being battle ready, SG will really have to kind of dig their heels in here and force fights in their windows. Otherwise, things could get bad pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of what is going to be our HFN hero, and well, I can't think for too long. And they gamble a little bit here on the TA, and it does make sense. Of course, you're not the worst hero in the world versus Faceless Void. You naturally try to build up the Aegises as much as you can. It's not the Ursa that I kind of wanted, but you know, what can you do? And maybe it was banned. Maybe I just didn't see it for a second there, but it definitely feels like an HFN hero, and we'll be able to play that dual core lineup very easily. But it is a matter of whether or not Wolf Team can get every Aegis each time. It's where they have this timing for second Roche, where they have Blink, BKB, Deso, Suits probably has BKB plus Bloodstone, and then they either win the game there, or we stall out towards that third Roche, and then it's a 50-50, and then if we go any longer than that, it's most likely SG Esports game. It's where suddenly the Faceless Void just becomes the best hero in the lobby, and then it doesn't matter what you're doing, how far you've gotten into the game, you eventually just lose. It is a pure timing-based carry.
And I think, well, Wolf Team are trying to specifically lean into that, right, with the lineup that they've got, because let's go fast. Let's go when Chrono's down. Let's go when there's no stampede to bail people out, and see how well we can do on that front. And oh, I don't know. It's not a bad strategy, right? And if it pays off, there is no really significant answer from the SG side. But as you say, if you don't hit, if you swing and you miss, you are going to be hard-pressed to do anything in the late game against this lineup.
Mm-hmm. And we'll have to see, because I think lane is borderline fine. You're versus Snapfire, Centaur. You can get kind of cheeky with it for sure, but that's where you know KJ is going to be there with the Dispels. He's going to have a pretty decent time, but now there are a lot of things to answer for in this game, and hey, maybe HFN, he comes online a lot sooner than his Medusa that he's so used to playing, but that's where Wolf Team can't drop the beat with their 4-man. They need to be very clean with their Mars Arenas, with their Leshroc's mana pool, just managing everything out, and then you can get a pretty sick mid game for you. But until then, again, a lot of things that need to be answered here, and all it takes is a few of those Chrono Snapfire plays to get Yuma off onto the right foot, and then suddenly Faceless Void is far and away.
Yep. Well, it's a risk, but Wolf Team had their backs against the wall, right? Facing elimination here in the lower bracket finals, they decide to throw something out there, and we'll see if it works for them, because, well, the bread and butter didn't work in game one, right? The Dusa play kind of fails, and that is a big question about this team. It really is not much of an exaggeration. They run the HFN Dusa pretty damn often, the hyper carry in general, in almost all of their games. So when that strat doesn't work, what does this team fall back on? Well, this is the answer. We'll see if it's enough, because if they lose with this adjusted lineup ET, then you might have to go back to the drawing board in terms of your strategies, because you can never be a one-dimensional team.
No, definitely not. And of course, we'll see Wolf Team in the future. You know, maybe they call up ADR, you know, get them back in the lobbies. Maybe they get a few of their old staples here. But I also think as far as they've come from a middle of the pack group stage team who is dropping games randomly to pretty much everyone to now third in our tournament, they can still be proud of what they've accomplished and the money they've been able to bag. But
It's true.
that's where they definitely don't want to go out in this game. They're going to give it their all.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, double meld.
That's a little rude there from HFN, but he was just waiting to see if someone takes the bait, and as you say, if you're Wolf Team, I mean, you've done what you've done here with at least one stand-in in every game, and sometimes, as we've seen here too. So, yeah, little hard, you know. One-dimensional is maybe a little bit of an overreach on my part, but the core of the lineup still is kind of playing one or two ways here. But 40R and Seuss do have slightly different hero pools. Tavo, obviously, a big part of this team as well, who hasn't been here for a while. So to make the most with what they've had, it's felt like ET a little bit of that kind of dog champ magic that we saw the last time around, right? They also came in with a altered lineup and then put together a pretty solid run.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a middling run up until the point where they just kind of bopped people in that playoff stage, and then everything looks great. I'm so sad that team couldn't be what it was, you know? If only Ryoya and Speed decided to stick around, but they had bigger and brighter things to do. Well, especially Speed, because he's in our grand finals already, you know?
Mm.
Definitely moving up in the world, but two-time grand finalist Speed Dota, you know? And maybe you should watch his videos. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, but
Maybe he knows a thing or two about Dota, you know?
I know, shameless. Shameless. But Gage is back in here. Game gets back underway. And we'll have to see, because right now, Tia's having a good time. Oscar is not having a good time. That's why he's got four rings of protection, because he knows what his life is.
Oh, man. Yeah. And this is part of the reason why Centaur just feels so awkward at this stage, because you have to cobble together itemizations like this. It's always just kind of this'll have to be good enough, right? You don't have an item builder, you're just like, yes, this is what I want, I'm confident in this. It's just a little bit rough. But hey, if there's anyone who could pull it out, Oscar, he's usually pretty damn reliable for SG. So, gotta have faith in him here, but it's still not going to be a fun lane.
They're doing what they can, though. And they do have to punch the Tia as much as you can on those early levels. Just not getting those side blades, but... Oh, poor Courier.
Meanwhile, mid, KXY and Seuss really going at it here, and oh, Seuss had
7.
single-digit health. Oof. Does he have... Where's his bottle? Courier bringing it? Okay. That explains why he's not running for his life at the moment, although KXY had his bottle brought out earlier, so he was trying to get in there, and another Shadow Strike might have brought him down, but Seuss now feels like he's, for the time being, out of that danger zone.
Yeah, and it's pretty funny because right now the left track is definitely doing a better job at hitting those denies, but that's also where every missed split earth is just 2 or 3 right clicks that KXY can get for free. And of course, eventually this lane gets almost unmanageable for the left track. It's where you pretty much have to play defensively up until you get your level 6, and then you can turn things around, but until then it doesn't really work out. But I'm just watching Prada.
Yeah.
This is fine. There's some creep pull action going on, so now it's just an Undying and a Tombstone, cutting Yuma's creep wave. Yuma even pulls the small camp for himself, knowing that, yeah, I might need to bring this back, huh?
I have not exactly seen this strat play out too many times, but for Prada, that works unbelievably well. He's sitting at 8-3 last hit-wise. He got some experience. Yuma did have to manage his own lane for a sec, but... that's not the normal way you see the Tombstone used, but Prada's trying to innovate a little bit here, and now he's going to go right back to bullying King RD, because you're a melee strength hero against an Undying, so you don't get to have much fun either.
Yeah, and despite, you know, kind of the dramatic way that played out for the Undying, the creep pull was successful. You've double waved yourselves. King RD is probably going to get his level 5. It's going to push in, so that feels nice, but bottom... yeah, gets taken down, just gets walked at. He wasn't able to defend himself in time. TA is not going to go down, and we'll just get immediately healed, but it feels pretty nice.
Yeah, that double stun, you know, onto an Omni Knight. He's a strength hero. He's a little bit tanky, but if he's not able to preemptively Heavenly Grace himself, then really don't survive that too many times. So that could be the answer here for the SG lineup. Put pressure on KJ. That will, in a roundabout way, slow up HFN at least a little bit.
All right, and it's interesting because Oscar 0 points up in the return, going away from the more farm-oriented build just to have that magic damage, but also where top just gets taken down again, just a little bit too far forward, and Prada walks him down with the tomb. Does die pretty much immediately after, but pretty sure they nabbed the deny.
Prada, that is the thing, right? You're putting extra points into Tombstone. You do have to protect it, but they don't give up any extra gold, and I don't know. That's a pretty nasty double slow. We don't really look at the dilation as being that significant, but it does get up there, right? Especially if you bait King RD in. If he uses his combo first and then you hit him with that dilation, between that and the Tombstone, he really just didn't get to move. But now it's Prada, who's not going to be doing a lot of moving. There's going to be the spear stun. They get the bomb onto him. They get the blast off. Prada's still not dead yet, though. And here comes Yuma looking for a trade. He gets FCR. Prada goes down, but that's when you're hoping on Wolf Team that you can get a little bit faster and certainly more cleanly.
Yeah, just got the decamp before the sounds actually hit. Without that, I think that is that clean play, but just, I think, kind of overestimating their own damage and just dies again. But Yuma is, again, top of the net worth, very happy already on his Faceless Void. I think he's going for the Midas build as well. We'll see. He might just have the treads in queue, but it also has a crazy item queue right now. Don't expect this to be his real items, as they make another play on the King RD.
Same time, KJ got hit up a little bit down bot. He's able to walk away, but King RD will not. There's that same combo again, right? Tombstone, Dilation. Mars has no boots. He's queuing him up now, AT, but without that move speed, he's just dead in the water. And now the Centaur on the other side might be in a little bit of trouble too. Oscar needs to sort of try and get away here, and I think he's going to be fine. HFN shouldn't really dive him, and he did get his Ring of Health, so he's going to be regenning pretty quickly, but HFN wants to play up, going for the side blade hits, and now he needs to make sure he's not too far forward, because he's out of mana, and KXY is going to TP in with a DD rune. This may have been a little bit greedy on HFN's part, but KJ comes in. There's your Heavenly Grace. KXY, he's got another Blink, but he doesn't have Scream, so he's just got to do it with a Shadow Strike. Refraction's going to eat some of that damage, but not enough of it.
Yeah, and well, do they keep going? LTA certainly thinks so.
Okay. KXY's still here, still working with the DD, and he gets the double, so... Well, if you're the Leshrac, okay, you get a little bit of time to farm freely in that middle lane, but 2 kills to the Queen of Pain, who is already a very momentum-based hero, is cause for concern.
Yeah, and your mid laner does eat a good bit of damage, but where KXY is doing his build on the hero again. Let me see. Is that a... I'm looking for his courier. Yeah, he's just got the 3-3 build in. Doesn't have the Midas coming out, but we've seen him do this before to varying degrees of success. But this is your all-around fight. You don't care about Sonic Wave, don't care about Scream of Pain. I'm just going to walk around, blink, Shadow Strike people. He's about as annoying as you can get, but great play top. Didn't even need the arena. Still level 5 on the Mars, but actually able to get a kill onto Yuma. That's super unlikely.
They timed that out so perfectly. They hit him with the stun. Then they came in with the blast off, and then FCR at that point hits him with the, with the sticky bomb. So even after he's sort of walking off the silence, he still isn't just able to time walk himself away because he knew he was going to take that damage. And at that point, it's too much damage. He gets taken down. Speaking of taken down, Tier 1 tower gone already. KXY is able to fall back, but the Leshrac does Leshrac things and does that with only 1 point in Edict as well.
Yeah, it's the one of the value points of all value points, but it's also a punishment of KXY's build, because of course you have Shadow Strike. That's great for stopping him when he walks up to the building, but if he's already on top of it, well, you don't have any points in Scream of Pain to push out the creeps, so you end up just sitting there right-clicking creeps and then not really able to push him away at all. But speaking of KXY, he's TP top, he's looking for King RD, and whoa!
Chrono. FCR, that's really the limits of what he can do. He throws a sticky bomb in, but Yuma's getting beat up here. There's going to be the heal out from Prada, though. Will it be enough? No, it will not. King RD still not dead. KXY, oh my god, he didn't skill Sonic Wave. Well, not really sure what he's going to get here.
Kill
Maybe
each
FCR.
other.
FCR goes down. King RD gets the spear. He's looking for the kill. He says, I'm not going to deny anything. I want to murder. And it looks like he is going to just barely live. And ET, I don't know if I quite understand that one. Level 4 Shadow Strike is certainly powerful, but Sonic Wave is Sonic Wave. It's a pure damage AoE nuke, man, and that would have made that fight feel so much more comfortable.
No, I definitely a little bit of a risk, but I'm also looking bottom. Oscar, he had already used the Stampede, and he'll go down. Will he be able to get the trade, though? And no, even though he's got 4 stacks of that time dilation, just get to walk away, and Yuma says, "Okay, I'm done with my lane. Somebody else take it over." It'll probably be the center TPing top to go up against that Leshrac, but no, it feels like Wolf Team are getting the better of their opponents right now.
KXY still trying to get on the move. There's going to be Shadow Strike in onto HFN. He's level 8 now. He still has no Sonic Wave, though, because he went for the 4-4. I think they get the kill anyway this time around, but
Yeah.
maybe they get 2 here as well, because KJ does not get to move. The slow is nasty. It's reapplied onto him as well, so this is slow and painful, ET, but they should be getting it.
Yep. 4-4-0. And now FCR also kind of has to be careful here, but yeah, gonna get TA trapped. If he blinks, well, then needs to be a little bit concerned with the Leshrac coming over, and you're out of mana entirely. And I think KXY, yeah, you're lucky to have a man like Oscar backing you up, and now LTH.
LTH, that's unbelievably greedy.
Well,
Does the DOT
FCR is
work?
dead.
Denied. Oh, I don't know if you should auto-taunt when you deny a teammate. That just seems a little messed up, but they do deny. Meanwhile, top lane, Prada, caught in the arena, not taken down during the duration, but he will still fall. HFN gets the kill. Wolf Team starting to get a little bit more active across the map, and down bot, they actually TP'd Sooths in here, so they're not even going to give up their own tier 1 tower, so ET, the kill count's still even. The net worth is not really massively shifted, but it feels like momentum is starting to go more towards Wolf Team's way, and SG are kind of getting dragged around the map a bit.
Oh, but
They are trying to force the fight.
Great jump.
Cookie into, well, into kisses. Oscar really didn't have to do a whole lot there. Just a hoof stomp to really kind of keep them locked in place, and LTH picks up the double kill.
Nope. Fantastic timing of those kisses. Just knew that it was time to defend that top tower, and then finds the punishment and the connect. And because you uprooted that TA just a few moments ago towards that top lane, doesn't have any TA traps taken down. At first, doesn't seem like a play that should work, because you should just get slowed up. It's not like you have Stampede. It's on CD for another 30 seconds at that point, but they just get a little bit too far ahead of themselves, and then they get punished. But that's where we'll have to see now where we get out onto the rest of the map here, because I think we've got double Midas now picked up for SG, so they are prepared to take this game as long and as messy as it needs to be.
One Midas finished on the Faceless Void. KXY close to his. Still needs a little bit more time, but it's going to be coming out pretty soon. And, well, if you're Wolf Team, what exactly are you looking for here? King RD would love to be making plays, but he's pretty damn far from his own Blink Dagger. But ET with a Leshrac and a Templar Assassin on the field, his farm priority is about as low as it could be right now, so I don't know. Do they still try to make the plays anyway without the Blink Dagger, or do they look to someone else to try and initiate for them?
It's still just got to come from him. It really can't come from anybody else. You're going to have that Techie Shard up in 2 minutes here. Even FCR is just pulling his gold right now, waiting for it, but oh, Oscar.
Okay.
Well,
Does
he
have a
walks into that
Vanguard, so
one.
this isn't an easy kill. There's the Stampede. He gets the hoof stomp onto 2. Reinforcements are coming. They don't want to be here anymore, but they don't have a choice. Prada is in. KXY is here as well. Heavenly Grace is going to be deployed, though, onto King RD, so that makes him incredibly hard to bring down, but, well, in a 3v1, they will find the kill, and now Yuma's going to track onto KJ. Has him slowed up with the Dilation. It does wear off, though, and... oh, okay. That is a nice combo. Time Walk into Cookie Stun keeps KJ locked down, and he's going to try and do a little bit of dancing here, but he should still fall. Oh. Okay. Yeah, he will fall, ET. That felt a little, maybe a little unnecessary, but Yuma wanted it, and he's going to get it.
Yuma wants the kill. You know, that's the beginning and the end of it. But yeah, could have also been I think a play from LTH. You know, he had the kisses, he had the scatter blast, just didn't want to get anywhere close to that tier 1 though. So I can respect it from Yuma, but that's where for SG, those kills honestly really nice for them. Ended up being a lot of supplemental farm that they weren't really able to get too cleanly in the lanes. So now items like the Blink Dagger for Oscar, not feeling too far away. They are getting active still as well with their 2 supports. They don't have the Flesh Golem, so this is just Tombstone and then a Cookie, but they still feel confident enough to make a play onto TA. Feels a little bit hard.
He really doesn't want to leave the lane, though, so he does back off, but that means Oscar is all by himself up top, and, well, he really has no way out. If he gets caught by that arena, he's just kind of forced to stand there and try and absorb the damage, but with the assistance of Sooths, that's just too much for him to handle right now.
Yeah, and it is interesting from Oscar. Of course, you know, when you look at the Centaur, it is always just a race for that Blink Dagger, but stopping for both the Vanguard and the Hood of Defiance, you know, it feels like maybe his gold could have been spent slightly differently because he is just crawling towards that Blink Dagger at this stage. But another smoke up to the Leshrac. Gonna just punish him for being underneath the wards. Cookie does miss, but doesn't matter. 4-on-1, impossible situation for the Lesh, but it is a 4-on-1. You know, that is not the biggest kill in the world, and it's actually why after that kill, SG lose 1k net worth off of it, just because HFN was farming a stack the entire time. And HFN is about to have his Desolator, so then probably see that it's that time for Wolf Team to actually smoke up and then look for a play that leads them into their first Aegis.
They're trying to look at HFN a little bit here. XY is still holding on to Sonic, but feels like they need more firepower on the SG side here. And as the Queen of Pain backs away, LTH is going to get hit up a little bit, but he's able to fall back as well. But now up top, they saw those heroes hanging out in the river, so they know Oscar doesn't have backup. There's the arena again. He does get a nice hoof stomp off, though, but with the tower gone, nobody's going to TP here to help him, so he just has to kind of stand his ground. At the same time, in the middle lane, they make the jump onto KXY. They take the Queen of Pain down. Prada is not making it out of here either. And SG, they're going to lose 3 across the map there, and well, now we're starting to get a little bit concerned. HFN has the damage. They have the lockdown to kind of keep the Queen of Pain locked in place if they bait him in, and now with 3 heroes dead, they can't contest Roche.
Yeah, and this is a situation where they are going to have Chrono, but they don't have the kisses for 30 seconds, and then I think simply with Sooth walking over, yeah, just pops the Edict, triple meld. Roche is super dead. Got dewarded though, I think, which also just means that no idea what's going on in here. You are just blind in the dark, but first Aegis, SG don't need to sweat at all. This is just first Aegis on TA. Doesn't feel too fearsome, but that's where the game is finally starting to work here, and the lineup's starting to come together here. As KXY, Blink Dagger reveal, you're just going to immediately lose that Quap again. And now LTH, he showed for a second, but that was long enough. Super long TA trap as well, so he is just immediately stuck. And now, well, time to get some damage onto this tier 2. I don't think they're ready for this.
Yep. Wolf Team just saying, hey, we still got a battering ram. We still have the Leshrac here, so they got to wait a couple seconds for Edict to come back up. But once they do, they'll have the Edict. They'll have HFN with the Deso just tearing through the armor as well. And yeah, this tower is going to melt, although SG popped the glyph here, so it's going to buy them a little bit of time. It cut through the creep wave quite nicely, too. And even if this tower falls, they get their glyph back, ET. But, oh, they want to fight.
Oh,
here's the
they're looking
TPs.
for the Lash.
Yuma's going to go. Maybe he's not. There's the Chrono.
Oh, no, KJ's perfect spot, though.
Yep, Guardian Angel comes through. The kisses are still going to do some damage, but not enough. And Yuma's actually the first to die. Oscar now getting stunned as well. Silence connects. In some serious trouble. They did get through the Aegis, however, but they need more. They need to take down Seuss as well. They do find that kill, but with HFN back up, how do they deal with him? Oh, they don't. They just let him TP out. Oscar was trying for the hoof stomp, but
Everybody's getting out.
not able to connect. Maybe KJ gets punished here? Yeah, okay.
Seems like it.
Well, honestly, well played from SG. Yuma does die. That's unfortunate for him, but they burn the Aegis. They take the fight that they wanted. You get the Seuss kill. I think without that, then this play just looks terrible for them, but it's not bad, but now they need to follow it up, right?
Yeah, but they're going to defend here in HFN. Well, he's just found a Prada. Prada has to pop his ulti and then fight for his life, but don't know if it's going to be enough here. And the rest of the lineup, they're just dying. They get taken out. The mines. Oh, it's so much damage. And now Oscar, he's got Stampede, but he had Pipe too. I don't think the Quap was dead there, but the jump was just a little bit too good from King RD. Well, they killed your mid-tier 2 already, so, I mean, now it's time to just cut in through top. The Lush is already making waves. I mean, does King RD get a spear back? Is that what we're angling for here? There's no way Oscar dies.
There are 0 trees. That's kind of crazy, but Oscar did have to use Stampede to get himself out there, so that's now on cooldown. Chronosphere on cooldown. Mortimer Kisses, guess what? On cooldown, so the ability for SG to take any sort of fight here relies exclusively on KXY, but KXY, he's got to get this BKB finished because he's been punished now 4 fights in a row with that spear stun, and he's not tanky enough to survive it if he does get caught.
Yeah, okay. A little bit of a miss there with the arena, so now it's a Wolf team that perhaps stretching themselves out a little bit too thin here, but immediate smoke, immediate popped, yeah. Now Undying, you're very dead, but look at the fight.
He did get the tombstone down here as well, so this is going to help them out. They're trying to focus on HFN. Where's their damage, though? KXY, he just gets taken down. He wasn't able to throw anything out there. HFN does die, however, so they finally get some sort of target, but Yuma is so late to the fight, it's already over. As Oscar's going to get run down and killed off, and you take that fight without Chrono. KXY does not get a Sonic Wave off again. I understand, you know, you think you make a good play, and honestly, they do, right? They get Tombstone, they get Hoof Stomp onto 3, they get some Kisses damage in there, but those 3 heroes aren't the engine that makes SG actually go. If they don't take those fights with KXY or Yuma in a solid position, it still isn't going to work.
Yeah, and SG are the ones that are now playing the 4 Protect 1 lineup, one that is feeling very slow. It's where you are going to have to rely more on your supports here coming into Yuma's Chrono. And he does have his BKB and only another 100 gold here, so we'll be able to make something happen, but this is where it's a very tight line to be riding right now. And top, Prada, ooh, not going to get saved. And now, wasted Stampede, so immediately they should be able to just get onto those buildings again.
KXY, you can't be there. That's the same spot. He just keeps getting picked off mid, and King RD, Blink Arena Spear. It's the same combo every time. He's going to hit it 90% of the time, maybe more than that even. Queen of Pain continues to suffer. At least you're buying time for Yuma. As you mentioned, that BKB was close to being done. Now it is finished off, but now if you're SG Esports, okay, Yuma has his BKB. Yuma's ready to fight, but you have to go with him. You have to fight around him. No more of these pickoffs, no more of these skirmishes without him, because they're just losing a little bit more gold every time they try and do it.
Yeah, and, well, we are slowing down and was likely going to head towards that second Roche timing, even though they are looking for another smoke play here. They want to kill Yuma. They want to try and punish him, but little do they know that there's a BKB, so instead they just stick for the D ward and they will get it. But this is where I'm also just looking over at Oscar, who's just not even looking at a Blink Dagger anymore. He's just purely going to rely on his Faceless Void, putting all this pressure onto Yuma. I don't know if I like it necessarily. They're looking for HFN, though. Does he blink? He sees the Void, though. It's daytime. This is a jump that you can't make unless you're smoked, but SG, they're not popping it. They would need to smoke him just so we can get a little bit closer, but without that, daytime vision is just a little bit too strong, and now they go for it, but he's already starting to rotate away, and if they break on KJ, that's worst case scenario here. But the retreat is being made. Yuma's closing the distance. Still very difficult to react, but I don't know if they're going to land. And the more they stop showing, the more they don't push in this mid wave, the more aware that Wolf Team are going to be about this smoke. While they are heading up towards that Leshrac, but he does just have a Bloodstone. Do they go for the jump? He will. Doesn't pop the Bloodstone either, so he should go down, but that's where KJ, he's trying to make his movement. Oh,
Zeus lives. There's going to be the Bloodstone pop. They have to fall back. Sonic Wave in, but it's not really a lot of damage, and King RD makes his move. There's the Spear, only hitting onto LTH, though, so the rest of the lineup is fighting, but FCR comes in, hits the stun from the back line. Guardian Angel going to be deployed, but they're trying to focus on the Tombstone at the moment. They do manage to take it, but now HFN is moving forward. LTH, first of all. Oscar dropping a little bit low as well. Can he get out? Not really. Teammate tries to whip him, but that's not going to be enough. It's a double kill for HFN. Now he's looking for the triple. Prada stuck in the river. Gonna get slowed to hell, taken down. 3 kills for your TA, and well, that's Chrono used, that's Sonic Wave used, and you get 0 kills out of it.
Yeah, and I understand why they end up looking for the Leshrac instead of pushing in mid for the kill. But now you just go up high ground. They've used everything. I'm also looking at top, though, because there's a BKB-less Yuma that's about to get punished here. FCR does have to reorient himself, but absolutely no way that he survives that. Nope. And then you lose the Quap in the base. Well, that's illegal.
That might just be
19 seconds. I mean, they're going to get their glyph refresh, but aside from that, I think they're out of gas in the tank. They will not be able to hold onto this mid-rax. They'll have glyph for top, I imagine, but look at all of these abilities that are just cooling down. The really only one who's ready to fight is Prada, but even then, I don't think you have enough damage. And it all just comes back from them overestimating themselves and going for the one kill they probably couldn't. And HFN is just balling out of control.
This is a nifty little stun play from LTH and Oscar, but there's just no damage here. HFN just kind of walks it off, goes back onto the tower. Even going to hit him with the Heavenly Grace here just so he can regen up a little bit. That does force out the glyph. So SG live to fight another day, ET. It will not be the end just yet, but it just feels so desperate now. And SG, so unbelievably frustrating for them and for anybody who's a fan of the team watching, because you still get the feeling, if we hit the chrono the way that we want to, if we get the kisses down, if KXY is just dishing out damage from the sidelines, or from the flanks rather, it's winnable. The fight is winnable, and the game technically would still be too. It's just they're not getting that execution, and now KXY, well, Spidey senses, are they on point? No, they are not. He's going to get stunned up, and he's going to get taken down.
Yeah, FCR with an Ag Shard and an F-Blade. This man is dangerous. And Roche just respawned. They're just going to walk into the pit. They don't care at all what you're doing right now. They might even just show their force of strength here in the mid lane a little bit and then immediately get their TA in. And then suddenly, well, this is your last chrono. You either get the TA or the West Track right now, or this is going to be the second Aegis and the timing that the Wolf team have been looking for this entire game to probably close this one out. This is where you don't have Glyph, you'll have an Aegis, you still have to go into every ultimate SG have that they are going to throw at you. But if they use all their abilities and you're still standing at the end of the day, then you win if you're Wolf team.
There's not even going to be a contest. Roche is just going down too quick. They weren't on the move at the time, so Aegis for free. Shard gonna come their way too. We'll see who actually grabs it. Looks like HFN's just gonna keep it for himself here, so he is gonna have the side trap upgrade. He's got 2 lives, and yeah, SG really only going to have 1, maybe 2 chances at this, but it's got to happen in this next engagement. But this is not the start you were hoping for. Seuss is just going to run down some heroes. Yuma just needs to focus on getting out of here. But they saw that. Yeah, he's going to pop the BKB. He's got TP here, but yeah, he's just going to have to TP out. That's not a fight that you can take. He's just got to get home, and he will be able to do so. They've got to wait 30 seconds for LTH to be back up, though, and ET, they're locked in a defensive position here. They really won't be able to do anything.
No, and during this entire time, FCR's got to be a little bit careful by keeping around this top outpost, even though he's just looking for a soul kill on the KXY because he's insane. But the rest of the line is just going to cleave through those bottom towers, and then as soon as that mid wave is in, well, the alarm bells are going to ring in FCR's head, even though FCR is still tempting fate. Little does he know how much fate he's tempting, but that's where as soon as the game does refocus back onto these buildings, it becomes very aware where SG are playing, and then he decides to rejoin the rest of the lineup here, but they're running underneath traps. That's why they're dewarding, but there you go, the jump!
He already gets the stun onto 2. Prada's already dead. Does he have buyback? No, he doesn't. So they just have to back up. Lowish death timer, and actually he does now have buyback. He didn't have it the second he died, but he's able to get enough gold. But Yuma's out of the base with no TP for 13 seconds, so he will not be on the front line as Wolf Team are pushing their way bot. And they're going to start to wonder, it's like, oh, where the hell's Yuma?